This is an insane experiment. It's the dumbest experiment in human history. Why are we doing this? It's crazy.
That is Elon Musk, describing what happens when you pull carbon out of the ground and burn it. The dumbest experiment in human history. His words. This month, the company he runs told the stock market what it plans to buy next. $2.8 billion, not on solar, not on batteries, on gas turbines. 69 of them are already running in a field outside Memphis. 27 of them have no air permit at all. Next Monday, a federal judge is being asked to switch them off, and the United States government has walked into that courtroom on Musk's side. The reason it gave was a war. To understand how a chatbot's exhaust pipe ended up in front of a federal judge, you have to go back to a summer in Memphis. In June 2024, Musk's AI company announced it was building a supercomputer in South Memphis. It was called Colossus. It was meant to train Grok, the chatbot built into X. It went from an empty Electrolux factory to 100,000 running graphics cards in 122 days. Facilities like this normally take years, but a supercomputer is not really a computer problem. It is a power problem, and the local grid could not deliver that much electricity that fast. So the company did something that almost nobody in the news coverage stopped to think about. It brought its own power plant, on trailers, methane gas turbines parked in rows, burning around the clock to feed the servers. Here is where they sit. The first site is in Boxtown, a mostly black neighborhood in South Memphis. It was not empty land. It already carried an oil refinery, a steel plant, and a gas-fired power station. 2 years later, there is not one Colossus. There are 3, and the company owns 522 more acres directly across the road. Running a power plant in America means getting an air permit first. That is the Clean Air Act, and it has worked that way since 1970. The permit is not a formality. It sets emission limits, and it forces a public hearing before the thing switches on. The turbines at Colossus ran without one, for months. The defense was one word: mobile. Listen to how the community's director describes the argument.
Maintaining that position.
So what is being asserted is the idea that if you put large methane gas turbines on wheels, they all of a sudden...
That is the whole thing. A stationary source needs a permit. A mobile one is treated differently. In January, the Environmental Protection Agency said the quiet part out loud. Turbines like these are stationary sources, and the Clean Air Act applies. Meanwhile, environmental lawyers had been counting the units from the air. Between 2 flyovers, the number of turbines on the site nearly doubled. Then, Mississippi regulators did something that surprised even the people who expected the worst. They granted a permit for 41 more turbines just across the state line in South Haven. And these are not the small units from the first site. They are much larger, and they emit much more. The company's answer has been consistent, and it deserves saying plainly. It says, the turbines use the lowest achievable emission rate, and that everything it does is legal. The dispute is not really about whether the turbines are clean. It is about whether anyone got to check before they started. So what actually changed in the air over South Memphis? Researchers at the University of Tennessee looked at nitrogen dioxide, the gas you get when you burn methane in a turbine. Peak levels in the area rose by 79% after the data center arrived. By the manufacturer's own figures, the site can emit up to 2,000 tons of smog, forming nitrogen oxides a year. That is more than Memphis International Airport. Every plane, every year. In under 2 years, the company became the largest polluter in the region. Numbers like that are easy to read past. So here is what they sound like from inside the neighborhood.
Often than we have in the past. Multiple of our community members continue to tell me, man, I've been to the hospital 4 times just this year for my breathing, and I hadn't been in a decade. We have our elders who...
The community group puts the local cancer rate at more than 4 times the national average. That was true before the turbines arrived. Children in the area go to the emergency room for breathing problems more than anywhere else in Tennessee. Across the state line, residents have filed a separate class action over the noise and the vibration. On the 14th of April this year, the argument stopped being an argument. The NAACP, with the Southern Environmental Law Center and Earth Justice, sued the company in federal court. The claim is narrow and hard to wriggle out of. 27 turbines, 495 megawatts, no air permit. 495 megawatts is not a backup generator. That is a power station, and everyone in the room knows it. The case landed in front of Chief Judge Deborah Brown in the Northern District of Mississippi. In May, the plaintiffs asked for a preliminary injunction. In plain English, switch them off while the case runs, and that is when the story turns into something nobody had a template for. On the 16th of June, the Department of Justice filed in the case. Not against the company, for it. The government asked the judge to throw the neighbor's case out. The grounds were not about permits or emissions, or whether wheels make a turbine mobile. The grounds were national security. Attached to the filing was a declaration from the Pentagon's Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Officer. He wrote that Grok is one of only 4 frontier AI systems in the country capable of supporting national security work. 4 out of everything American labs have built. Then the filing said something that had never been public before. Grok's government version, plugged into the military's targeting system, helped American forces put over 2,000 munitions on 2,000 separate targets in 96 hours during the war with Iran. So read the argument back slowly. The turbines power the data center. The data center runs the model. The model supports the military. Therefore, the turbines cannot be switched off. That chain is the whole case, and it means the permit question never gets answered. It is the first time in America that an air permit for a chatbot's electricity has been argued as a matter of war, which brings us back to the number in the filing that started this. In February, SpaceX absorbed the AI company. The combined business went public, valued somewhere around $1.25 trillion. And going public means telling investors in writing what you intend to spend money on. The filing says $2.8 billion on gas turbines over the next 3 years. $805 million of it is already ordered, with deliveries scheduled out to 2029, which is a strange delivery schedule for equipment the company describes as temporary. The company has said the unpermitted units will all be gone by July 2027. They are being replaced by a permanent gas plant, 1.2 gigawatts of it. So the trailers go away. The gas does not. That was never the plan. Here is the thing that makes this story sit oddly with everything Musk built his name on. Tesla exists because of that argument. Burn less. Electrify everything. Do not run the experiment. Then, artificial intelligence needed more electricity than anyone could deliver on time, and the argument quietly changed. That is not really hypocrisy. It is what happens when speed becomes the only thing that matters. The grid was the bottleneck. Permits were the bottleneck. Both got roted around, and the bill landed on one neighborhood, and it will keep landing somewhere. Every frontier lab is hunting gigawatts now, and the grid is not ready for any of them. Memphis is just the first place where that hunt met a courtroom. Next Monday morning, in Greenville, Mississippi, Judge Brown hears the argument about whether the turbines keep running. On one side, a filing that says a model helped fight a war. On the other, this.
There's no amount of money that is worth our lungs or worth having a clean, healthy environment, clean.
8 years ago, Musk asked a question about carbon, and he asked it as if the answer were obvious. Why are we doing this? In 2026, the answer his own company filed is that the machine needs it, and the machine is not finished growing.